Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be checking out a train show in Prescott, Ontario. This was an event I went to back in April of last year, and it ended up being a great time. I saw a lot of familiar faces both from my area and from some nearby border towns in the States. There was also some great displays and a whole variety of different vendors here. So kick back and relax, and I'll show you all the different things I saw while I was here. So starting off, there was this vendor with a bunch of different rolling stock, including some vintage locomotives still with their original boxes from the 70s and 80s. They also had some slightly more high-end rolling stock with knuckle couplers, and a variety of different locomotives which were either new in the box or had very little wear on them. A lot of these looked to be in great shape. They even had some steam locomotives here. And I always have to lift up all the boxes and just make sure there's nothing too exciting under one of them. You never know if you're going to find something kind of unique, and there definitely were some nice things to be seen. This next vendor had some vintage Lionel HO locomotives, as well as some rolling stock from a company called Balboa. I've never heard of this brand before, but it did look kind of nice. And just beside that, there was a ridiculously compact HO layout, and these sorts of things just prove that even if you have a limited amount of space, you can build something interesting while remaining with HO scale. On the opposite side, I did find some G-scale locomotives and a few N-scale pieces of rolling stock. And this locomotive right here kind of caught my eye, but it ended up being outside my price range, so I decided to leave it there. I did find more N-scale rolling stock though, including a whole bunch of different freight cars and some various locomotives like this Bachmann N-scale Prairie steam engine, I think from the 80s, and this British Graham Farish locomotive. Out of all the modules at this show, this harbor scene really stood out to me. The amount of detail here is just incredible, and the town scene right beside it was very good too. There's a lot of effort put into both these displays, and it really does show. Just to the side of that, there was a vendor with a whole bunch of mid-range to high-end HO locomotives, as well as a whole variety of different O-scale freight cars from different eras. I also found some O scale British steam locomotives, and a lot of these looked decent, but the prices were kind of high, so I didn't end up buying any of those. One display which kind of caught my eye was this whole tin plate setup. It's definitely more of a niche in the hobby, but I still really enjoyed seeing all the different things they had laid out all over this table. Another setup I really liked was this Harley-Davidson themed train running throughout this whole module layout, and directly across from that there was a diorama with working trackage and a whole lighting system, and everything on this setup was controlled by this timer on top. The next table had a whole bunch of G-scale stuff, including locomotives, track, and rolling stock. And the final vendor I decided to check out had some pretty common HO scale stuff. There wasn't too much that stood out, but they did have an N-scale DD40, which I thought was kind of neat. Anyways, I did end up buying some stuff at this show, so we'll head on home and I'll show you all the different things I decided to purchase while I was here. So here are all the things I decided to buy. There were some amazing deals at this show, and I'm really excited to show all of you all the different things I purchased. Starting with this Brill trolley. This was being sold for only $9. I don't know if it works or not. The guy selling it claimed that it did, but it is an older Bachmann locomotive, and at such a low price, you can't really be sure. But either way, I thought having a brilliant trolley on the layout would be great with the new trolley line that I've put together. And at least cosmetically, this thing appears to be in very good condition. We'll have a closer look at it here. And overall, it really doesn't look too bad. It does have the older drive system, but these are usually not too difficult to work on, so that's something that'll be fun to fix up or just run around the layout. Now, the second thing I decided to buy was sort of an impulse purchase. It was towards the end of the show, and the Smith Falls Railway Museum, or the Greater Railway Museum of Eastern Ontario, had pretty much sold all of their stuff, with the exception of this kit. And since it was at the end of the day, the guy selling everything said that he only wanted $10 for this kit. So I gave him $20 for it because it is a charity organization, but it appears that everything here is intact, and I have built one of these roundhouse kits before. Had a lot of fun with that, so I figured I'd give it another try. Obviously everything is going to require painting, so on and so forth, but I learned a lot last time, so I think that this one should be at least slightly more straightforward. And then here was another purchase from the Railway Museum of Eastern Ontario, and it is an S1200 Canadian Pacific locomotive. The funny thing is, I actually got one of these for Christmas of 2007, and it has been a terrific locomotive, super reliable. This is basically a knockoff Athearn drive with slightly better detail. Proto was trying a lot of new things in the late 90s and early 2000s. Even this whole design right here is kind of interesting because at the time, I guess there were certain taxes if you were importing toys, but if you were importing a kit, aka two separate parts, there was a different tax bracket. So they actually did this to avoid certain taxes, as well as show off a new drive, because at the time Lifelike's reputation was not the best with the pancake drives. Now, since I already have one of these locomotives, I figured we'd do a little bit of a giveaway here, so if you have a comment to write, just put whatever you want, and follow it up with HO to let me know that this is the locomotive you want, and I'll test this thing out. We'll make sure that it actually works properly, and provided it does, I'll select a comment within the next couple months, and I'll send this to one of you out there. And then finally, got the lot of N-scale stuff. Now, these were being sold for $5 a piece, but that's not what I paid. The guy selling all this stuff was actually a subscriber, a really nice guy, and at the end of the day, he really just wanted to be rid of all these cars, and he asked me if I wanted them for free. I told him that I didn't actually have any use for any of these N-scale cars because I already have plenty of N-scale rolling stock, but I figured that at least one of you out there would probably want all this stuff, so I said, hey, tell you what, I'll give you $20 for the lot, and I'll do a bit of a giveaway. So if you're an N-scaler out there and you want all of this Canadian and American rolling stock, just put a comment with the words N-scale at the end of it, and I'll be sure to do a draw within the next couple months. From what I can tell, every single piece has knuckle couplers, all the wheels are intact. As you might guess, this is not the most modern stuff out there, but everything appears to be in good shape and operable, so I think it could make a very nice addition to someone's collection out there. Anyway, with that little show and tell out of the way, why don't we take all this stuff over to the track and we'll see if any of it works. So to start off, I guess we'll just grab these wheels out of here and slowly start putting the locomotive together on the track here. I'm kidding. We'll test out the Brill trolley to start off. I'm really not sure what to expect with this thing. On one hand, it's a pretty simple drive. On the other hand, we've got 80s or 90s era Bachmann technology. Oh, here's something. We have current draw, yeah! Oh, there we go. It's got interior lighting. That's cool. Yeah, this thing runs pretty well. I'm quite impressed. Other than that little bit of hesitation at the start, this thing seems to be running perfectly. The guys in Hong Kong must have been giving it their all when they made this about 20 or 30 years ago. Hopefully we'll hold together a little bit longer before I have to make any serious repairs on it, like whenever that gets worse. And anyways, I think we'll move on to the Proto 2000. Now generally these are very good locomotives, but I have seen a few of them that are seized right out of the box from sitting too long, and they're also kind of notorious for having split gears, so hopefully this one doesn't have that issue. Alright, what does everybody think? Is it gonna start? Yeah, it will. No problem. Current draw seems to be in check, very good. It's definitely not the fastest locomotive out there, but in terms of prototypical speed, that's a great thing. The lights are kind of dim, but they are working, which is also fantastic. And now we'll just quickly test out all the N-scale rolling stock. Turns out this one actually does have a different style of coupler, but I'll still include it anyway. Very nice. Both sets of cars seem to be rolling really well, so I think they're going to make a fantastic addition to someone's collection out there. And again, if you want to enter the N-scale car giveaway or the HO locomotive giveaway, just put whatever scale you want at the end of your comment. If there is no scale at the end of your comment, I'll assume that you're not interested in either giveaway, and I'll move on to the next comment. But otherwise, that's all you have to do to potentially win these N-scale cars or that HO locomotive. Please, only one entry per person. But until then, I just want to thank you all so much for watching.